Hi Scorpios, welcome to your September 2017 reading. Let's get right into the reading and see what's coming up for Scorpios. So what messages do we have for Scorpio for the month of September? I'm feeling like I got this sense of exhaustion, like just feeling tired, and like overwhelmed, overworked, doing way too much. Ten of Swords. First card out, Ten of Swords. So yeah, there is definitely this feeling of being drained. And Libra got this card in their reading, and so not sure if you are sort of dealing with a Libra at the moment, but I'm not really getting that feeling. I just feel like this is just, you know, you all feeling kind of drained at the moment, and overworked. And I feel like these swords represent these different commitments that you've taken on. All of these different things that you've said, yes, I want to do. And that makes a lot of sense because in August, y'all had the solar and the lunar eclipse paired up in your 4th and 10th house, right? So I think it was Aquarius is in your 4th and Leo's in your 10th. And so you had the full moon in Aquarius in your 4th house. And then you had the solar eclipse, which was the new moon in Leo in your 10th house. So career, public image, and, you know, I witnessed a lot of my Scorpio friends around the solar eclipse beginning to receive much needed acknowledgement and appreciation and admiration for their careers, for their choices, you know, for what they've chosen to do with their lives. Like I saw a lot of my Scorpio friends receive a lot of love and public attention and affection for the things that they do that they're very talented and very gifted at, which was a really great thing to see because Scorpios generally aren't very, very secretive and aren't really open, aren't really into being in the spotlight. So I saw a lot of Scorpios end up in the spotlight. And sometimes what happens when we're in the spotlight and people see, you know, our light, you know, see your light, they see how amazing you are, you begin to get asked to do a lot of things, and then you kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed, and then those things that you've been asked to do end up kind of draining your energy. Which that energy is reserved really for, you know, very specific and purposeful things in the first place. So yeah, there's a lot. We're going to keep shuffling because that just felt a little frustrated. What else is going on for Scorpio? It's like y'all have a lot to say, but there's just, I feel like there's also minding a lot of other people's feelings at the moment. 3 of Cups. Being asked, right, to go to be, you know, to gather a lot with other people, to be present with other people, with friends, with, you know, just there's a lot of events going on. There's a lot happening this month. You know, and definitely feeling sort of like you don't, like yes, this seems fun, right? Coming together with people can be great, but, you know, I know for myself, you know, Scorpios, and then also me having a water moon, understanding like that need to also like have alone time is very, very, very important to Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, not so much, but yes, still too, needing alone time. For different reasons. For different reasons, definitely. What else is coming up for Scorpio? See, and it's like, I'm not really, like, nothing has really come. Okay. So, a bunch of cards just came out. We're just going to go with them. Page of Swords. Page of Wands. Perfect. Yep, that was it. Okay. Yeah, I just got this feeling of, all right, here it is. Here, you want to know what's going on with us? Here it all is. At the bottom of the deck is the Hanged Man. So, you know, feeling in a space of, it's like you're in motion, but there's a lot going on around you, and there's a lot of activity, but I think a lot of you also still feel like the Hanged Man in a lot of ways. Like that like Scorpios don't really have a very different perspective on like progress, right? And what I mean by that is that, you know, for Scorpios, the internal transformative processes are actually more beneficial than just going around and making things happen in the physical world around us, right? Like just because I make a lot of things happen around me, and because I'm quote unquote successful, or I'm, you know, making things happen in my daily life or my career or whatever, does that really mean success for me? Or is success for me or growth for me more oriented towards those internal processes, right? Those internal transformations that, you know, make me who I am supposed to be in alignment with my highest self from the inside out, right? And so that for me is like, yes, Scorpio is also ruled by Mars, which is an action-oriented planet, but I definitely see where that action takes place, like being ruled by the underworld, right? Pluto, Hades, all being associated with Scorpio and the 8th house, the underworld, right? That it's not so much about Mars, asserting itself and exerting itself in the physical world, but more so doing so in the underworld, in that place where transformation happens, in that place where the metaphorical death, right, of our old selves occurs. And that, to me, is really what Scorpios view, what the Scorpio archetype holds and values as progress, right? So with this Hanged Man, yes, a card of lack of motion, but a card of enlightenment nonetheless. Right? A card where enlightenment and success and progress is not measured by how much can this person do or accomplish in the physical world, but what is this person's, you know, spiritual constitution, right? More or less. So, you know, while Scorpios are sort of, you know, in this process of, because the energies from the lunar and the solar eclipses are still with us. We don't just have these eclipses or these full moons or these astrological events and then that's it and they're over. We carry with them the lessons, the energies, the heaviness that they bring with them. And so, you know, having had the solar eclipse occurring in your 10th house with Leo, right? And that was, for me, for you all, was all about how do I allow myself to be in the spotlight, Leo, right? Be in the spotlight, be completely independent, be in charge of, be the leader of my public persona, my career persona. And I don't just mean the work that you do to pay bills, right? I'm not talking about 6th house, I'm talking about 10th house, I'm talking about the work that you do that is very much tied to your identity as a person, right? And you know, like for me, you know, wanting to be a healer, wanting to be an artist, a tattoo artist, wanting, you know, that's my 10th house identity, right? Whereas 6th house work is, you know, I work in the mountains and I do trail work and, you know, I work as a lift operator in the winter. Like that's work that I do to fulfill responsibilities. So there's a difference. and really allowing yourselves as Scorpios to shine in your 10th house activity, because there's a lot of awesome stuff that y'all have to offer. And there's some really cool things that people are just, there's a lot of things that occur in the 8th house that before were very taboo and were very much like not appreciated, and now are very much, you know, being accepted into wider social circles, and, you know, more normative, right? Like spirituality, quote unquote, is finding its way, seeping its way into the mainstream, right? Whether it's a good or bad thing, who knows? But at least, you know, that it's making its way in through some degree, right? And so a lot of, you know, 8th house being ruled by the occult, things that we can't really understand just by looking at them, right? We have to understand them by really merging with them. Magic, things of that nature, that being in the 8th house and being a very Scorpio kind of, there's a lot that a lot of Scorpios have to offer at the moment that may not have been acceptable, you know, some years ago. So here's your spread. Here's what's going on with you all. So like I said before, we had this, you know, there's a lot, general energy. There's a lot going on in terms of feeling overwhelmed and sort of drained by what I, you know, said were all of these different responsibilities and different sort of commitments that you've made, right, to within your 10th house. I'm definitely feeling this is very 10th house activity. And, you know, there are some really great, you know, this combination came out, the 3 of Cups and the Page of Swords came out for Virgo as well. So I'm not sure if, you know, if you have some friends that are Virgos, right? If you have a lot of Virgo friendships, where all of you, right, Virgos and Scorpios are able to sort of come together at this time and sort of share new information and knowledge with each other, share new ideas, and to sort of help each other out with these ideas. This could also be an air sign, an Aquarius, Gemini, or a Libra who is definitely, you know, a positive, you know, sort of refreshing friendship presence in your life at the moment. And also has the capacity to sort of refresh and help you to sort of gain new insight and gain new ideas regarding your relationship to your friends, and your relationship to group dynamics and partying and sort of celebration, and just kind of gives you the capacity to kind of do all that. And then over here we have the Page of Wands. There's a lot of people. We have 3 pages. We have Page of Swords, Page of Wands, and Page of Cups all in the spread. We have this 3 of Cups. We have this 5 of Pentacles. So there's people. There are a lot of people around you. And they all want a piece of you. They all want, some of them, you know, want to share ideas with you. Some of them want to collaborate with you. Some of them want to date you, right? Some of them have interest in you, very kind of, you know, innocent puppy love kind of interest in you. Some of them feel like you're not giving them the time of day. Some of them feel like you're not really paying much attention to them, and it's not that you're meaning to. I feel that it's just there's so much going on. There are so many opportunities that are happening in your life right now that you're doing your best to juggle all of these different, you know, personalities, these different relationships, these different commitments, these different teaching gigs, workshops, whatever it is that you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing, there's a lot of it going on. And, you know, you've got some friends that are really going to be happy for you, right? You've got some friends that, like I said before, are going to want to share new ideas with you and new ways to do the things that you're going to do, right? Want to help you advance intellectually with what you're trying to do. There are some people that want to collaborate with you creatively and actually make some things happen. There are some people that are going to want to, you know, ask you out on a date or, you know, connect with you emotionally. And there are going to be some people that are going to kind of like, you know, feel like, oh, well, they're doing their thing and they're advancing. And so because of that, I'm feeling kind of left out. You might, and it's not that they're really hating on you. It's so much that they're insecure, right? Because this to me is a card of feeling insecure. and it's a card of feeling, it's a card for me of codependency as well, that, you know, there's a saying that, you know, you can, about codependency, where you can put a you can put a thermometer in my mouth and take their temperature, right? You like the idea that, you know, when people are codependent, you generally have one person in the situation that needs, right, this other person to be kind of down in the shits with them in order for them, like misery loves company, right? And it's not so much that it's done maliciously, right? And I'm speaking from a perspective of being somebody who has a lot of compassion for the different human conditions that we all have to navigate, and that people, you know, have to navigate some really fucked up stuff, whether it's from childhood or whatever, but we all have our own survival mechanisms that come out in really ugly ways. And I can understand, you know, most of the ways in which they come out, right? Especially for me, being somebody who's battled addiction and who's, you know, battled, you know, eating disorders, and who's, you know, had, you know, my fair share of difficulties, right? Like I can understand the different mechanisms that people latch onto when they go to these types of places, right? With being codependent and with needing somebody to sort of feel, needing somebody to feel, like, well, if I feel like shit, then you're going to feel like shit too, because there's no way in hell that I'm going to allow you, right? And then it comes from a place of being insecure. It comes from a place of feeling lonely. It comes from a place of feeling left behind most of the time, just left behind, right? Nonetheless, don't allow this person, whoever this person may be, to, you know, to drag you to their level. Do not allow that to happen. Really, all you have time for is people that are going to be happy for you, right? But you are going to have situations where people aren't going to be so happy for you, because in your happiness and accomplishment, they feel sort of left behind, and they feel sort of, you know, like they're not accomplishing anything, right? And we normally, we call those people haters, but, you know, what they're really dealing with is like a severe sense of lacking and, you know, insecurity and, you know, not knowing how to even begin to fulfill their own dreams, right? And if this is an energy that you're experiencing too, have compassion for yourself in that energy, right? Offer love, right? Offer, like both of these cards are offering something to this, right? Like there's an offering, there's some kind of compassion being made. There's some kind of understanding being made between these two. But nonetheless, back to where we were at, you have this Page of Swords, who could be an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, who definitely wants to share with you, share some ideas with you. There's a newness and a freshness, right? And they're in your circle of friends, and they want to be, they want to hang out with you, right? And then we have this Page of Wands. And this Page of Wands is interesting because we're also going to be having, you know, the full moon in Pisces on September 6th, I believe is happening in your 5th house, right? So we have, let's see here. So if Scorpio's in your 1st, right? So Scorpio, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. So yeah, Pisces is going to be in your 5th house. So this full moon, right? The full moon representing culminations, things coming to an end, cycles being broken, the closing out of things, right? The closing out of periods of our lives, right? So, and that occurring in your 5th house, right? So, and that being the house of creativity, friendship, well, not friendship, creativity, romance. 11th house is friendship, is Aquarius. Romance, creativity, childhood, or children, your inner child, performance, right? There could be maybe some of you are collaborating to create some kind of play, and that play is finally coming to a culmination, right? Like you're going to begin to have your performances, and this being all happening in Pisces. And I definitely think of Pisces as, you know, Neptune being that planet that generally rules artists, poets, you know, very ethereal kind of, ethereal sort of, energy, mystical, right? Like the mysticism and the ethereal nature behind art and artists and painters and poets and all of that sort of romanticize the romanticized aspects of that, right? And so maybe, you know, there's a play, like I said before, there's some kind of art project that you've been working on, and it's coming to a culmination, it's coming to an end, or you're completing the project, or there is, you know, creative collaborations that are being made and finalized at the moment. So I definitely feel that with this Page of Wands is here to really be a spark of creativity, and is really here to be a spark of inspiration to you. You know, and I think this is also I feel this is also a continuation of the Leo energy from that full moon, from that new moon in Leo in your 10th house, right? That there's still that energy, that Leo energy that's moving forward and coming through to inspire your 10th house and put you out front and center. I do kind of want to clarify that Page of Wands, though. Can I get clarification for the Page of Wands? Why is the Page of Wands here? Why is the Page of Wands here? Okay. So, the Three of Pentacles, the building, right? The collaboration. There's a collaboration happening. The Strength card, definitely Leo energy. And if you're not already working with a Leo, there's, you know, a Leo might be coming in creatively with you, to work with you. And then we have Justice, right? So with the Justice card showing up, it's a little bit misplaced for me, but with the Justice card showing up, with, you know, there could also be a need for a balancing of power, right? When the Strength card comes up for me, it's also about power. So yes, collaborating with people can be a great thing, right? Especially, you know, and Scorpio's strong personality, Leo, strong personality, right? And sometimes the power scales can get thrown off balance. And then what ended up sort of being this even-keeled kind of collaborative effort can turn into like a power struggle, right? Where one is trying to manhandle or trying to sort of take control of the other, right? And so just be mindful of that, and don't allow things to get out of balance, right? Like allow the scales of justice to continue to be balanced, because we also don't want to off-put yours or anybody else's karma, right? So just be mindful that in collaborating, especially with fire signs right now, because fire signs, you know, very, very powerful, very persuasive. I mean, think of Aries, think of Leo, think of Sagittarians, like incredibly powerful energies, fiery, you know, very sort of assertive in your face, and sometimes can get a little bit power hungry, right? Can get a little bit egotistical, can get a little bit overpowering, can become a little bit too much like this, you know? I have a lot of fire sign friends, and I have to sort of subtly kind of check them every now and then to not try and overpower, or to, you know, you're not my mom kind of energy, right? Like I have to kind of gently nudge them, right? Because they don't mean it in a negative or bad way. They just can't help themselves sometimes. But be mindful, that power struggles do not occur between you and another fire sign if you are collaborating with them creatively, artistically, and that if you happen in a power struggle with a fire sign, right, in that 5th house, it's going to come to an end and that things will kind of be sorted out as the full moon approaches. Next, we have this Death card. And for me, this card comes up in all of your, I think in every single reading that I've done for Scorpio, the Death card comes up. And that makes a lot of sense to me because Scorpio is that sign that represents death and regeneration and things coming to an end, things being reborn constantly. But I guess what I'm gonna, and normally speaking, you know, I'm all for, this is a really comfortable energy, right? For a lot of Scorpios, I think I said last month, but you know, I had this one woman that I knew who was a Scorpio, and she was talking about how she's used to feeling uncomfortable. She's just like, I'm just constantly, I'm used to feeling uncomfortable that I'm constantly breaking down aspects of myself that I feel like need to be changed or need to be, you know, transformed or completely cut out of my life. Like she's constantly in this process of, you know, trying to destroy and rebuild and destroy and rebuild and destroy and rebuild. And after a while, and like while I understand the beauty behind that, sometimes this can get a little bit exhausting for you all, right? Sometimes this can be a bit exhausting, right? Sometimes constantly being in this energy, like when I pulled it out, I got this energy of like, oh, here we go again, right? Here we go again. And I tend to attract people, like friendships, you know, in my life. A lot of my friends are people who also are very comfortable with, you know, very intense and deep and powerful transformation, right? Like I also have Scorpio in my 11th house. So that makes a lot of sense, is that I tend to attract friends and I have friendships that are deeply transformative. But sometimes you just want something a little bit lighthearted, right? Sometimes you just want something that's a little bit more on the lighthearted end of things, right? But at the same time, you know, we have this Death card here, and next to it we have this Ace of Pentacles, right? So, you know, with going into the transformative processes of the Death card, we always come out with something new. We always come out with a new opportunity, a new pathway, a new lesson having learned, a new valuable lesson to take home with us, right? I kind of want to clarify these two cards. Actually, the Ace of Pentacles. Can I clarify the Ace of Pentacles, please? Because the Death card for me is pretty self-explanatory. It's transformation, a change. Well, actually, let's do the Death card too. Like, why is the Death card here? Because I want to know what is it specifically this time around? You know, are you all transforming and ridding yourselves of? So what? Can you clarify the Death card for me? Why is the Death card here? Okay, so I have the Queen of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. So when the Queen of Pentacles for me comes up, it's, you know, a card about understanding. Okay, yeah. Understanding that what you have to offer or what you have is incredibly valuable and powerful, right? This Queen of Pentacles is looking at this pentacle, and she knows and it's her pentacle, right? And it's also metaphorical for her own self-worth, and it's metaphorical for her own being, and she values it. She holds it closely to her. She adores it. She loves it. She also looks at it realistically, right? Like it's a pentacle. It's not a cup. It's not a wand. It's a pentacle. It's something that exists in this tangible, real world, right? So she also is capable of having humility and looking at herself with love and admiration, but also with honesty and gentle honesty at that, right? Like she's not and Scorpios, y'all can be very hard on yourselves, right? So being in this energy, you know, can also be a little bit difficult for you because there is a sense of compassion that she has, right? And like I mentioned before, that there might be some difficult personalities that you're going to be encountering, personalities that maybe might be a little bit jealous of you, or maybe you are feeling jealousy towards others, or maybe, you know, you, in the midst of all of your accomplishments, still feeling like you're not, you know, there's always somebody that one-ups you, or there's always somebody that, you know, leaves you out in the cold, or it could be from you, or it could be somebody feeling this towards you. But I definitely, with this Page of Cups, I see like an offering of empathy and compassion towards this situation. Oh, sorry, where did the video go? Sorry, it just disappeared. So I see a sense of empathy and compassion being offered, right? And I see kindness being offered towards, and this could also be you offering a helping hand to friends that might be in need right now at the moment. And I see you really trying, you know, this Ace of Pentacles is also offering a helping hand towards this situation. So I see something happening here where there's a situation happening in the middle, and there are efforts from multiple directions that are coming in trying to help. And I feel like you're a part of this effort. Or I feel like you're receiving lots of support and love from other people. But with this Death card being clarified by the Queen of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords, right? So this queen knows her worth, right? But she also looks at, she knows she has the utmost respect and value for who she is, but she also looks at herself with humility and honesty, right? And with the Seven of Swords, I see this, you know, I see this still as somebody who's running away with their thoughts, somebody who is, you know, trying to hide, essentially, who's like, all of these swords represent, right? And now I'm seeing a relationship. So we had this Ten of Swords, and these swords, as I said before, represented all of these different opportunities, these different promises, these different commitments, all of these different things that you've taken on that you said you're going to do, because, you know, when the solar eclipse happened, a lot of you had the spotlight shown on your career, right? On your talents within your career field, right? Your talents, the things that you are really passionate about and are really good at doing. A lot of you had the light, the light was shining. You had the limelight on, you know, these really awesome aspects of yourself. And then in that limelight, you were then approached by numerous people who you then said yes to a lot of these people. Like, yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. Sure, I'll teach this class. Sure, I'll, you know, help you do this, or I'll help you create that. Sure, I'll help you, you know, run this event, or facilitate this event, or I'll perform at this event. Like, you said yes to all of these things. But now there is this kind of resentment, right? And now these same swords, you just kind of like, fuck it, I am running off with these swords, and I would much rather admire my gifts in secrecy, and admire my gifts without the disruption of others, and by my lonesome, right? And I'd rather not deal with that. But it's like, you know, I don't know, there needs to be a change in that. There's the universe is still saying no, like, don't, you know, learn the lesson to see the value of what you have to offer, and don't say yes to everybody. Be selective. Be very selective with what you actually choose to do. Do not say yes to everybody. Recognize the value of what you have to offer. And so that when you have offers coming your way, you get to be discerning and selective, and that you have enough self-worth and knowing of what you have, that you don't say yes to everybody. Because what happens when we say yes to everybody is that there's actually this sense of inadequacy. So we feel like in order to feel adequate, we have to say yes to every single opportunity that presents itself, when in reality, we're just building up a case for resentment. And the universe is still saying you still have a lot to offer, because there are people, right? There are people that definitely want, right? Are left sort of starving and hungry for whatever it is, whatever gift that you have, right? And, you know, like I said before, this could represent a person, it could represent you, and it can also represent sort of a sentiment, right, that is needed, a sentiment among people around you that, oh, my gifts are needed, right? My gifts, my pentacles, my cups, my wands, my swords, they're all needed, right? They're all needed right now to elevate, right? The spirit, right? This low flying spirit. So I want to get an outcome card for you all. So what's the outcome for Scorpio for September 2017? Outcome for Scorpio for September 2017. Okay. Knight of Cups. And I was shuffling earlier for you all, and this card popped out. So here it is, Knight of Cups. I definitely feel, whether you all want it or not, there is some kind of offer coming in romantically. And yes, water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but I just see this as somebody who, you know, I see this, you know, this page again, right? Like this page is upping his game. This page is upping his game and is now like, okay, I'm going to come back a little bit stronger. So there is, you know, a possibility for a romantic offer. There is a possibility for connecting with somebody who actually, you know, wants to offer you this cup, wants to offer you, you know, partnership, wants to offer you, you know, and if you're already in a partnership, then there could be a rekindling, right, of the flame. There could be a sort of a return to that beginning sort of, you know, tingly butterfly in the stomach kind of romance, right, that existed in the beginning between the two of you. So I definitely see new romantic offers on the table for some of you. And for those of you who aren't interested in a romantic offer and who you know will not be experiencing that, I just see this as more opportunities moving your way for that will be emotionally fulfilling, right? They will continue to be emotionally fulfilling opportunities moving into your moving towards you. But again, be discerning. Be discerning about what you pick up on, because if you're not discerning and you're just saying yes to everything, then you kind of end up in this sort of resentment where you're like, fuck it all, I'm running off with all of my gifts and my swords and my ideas and, you know, my genius. I'm running off with it. So that is your reading for this month, Scorpios. And if you'd like a personal reading with me, you can email me at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website, which is tattoosandtarot.com, and go to the reading section. I am having my website redone at the moment, so there may be a brief period in mid-September where my website is not available at all. So it would just probably be easier to message me via email at tattoosandtarot@gmail.com. And also, if you've purchased a reading with me on my website recently, and I have not gotten back to you, please write me an email. I've written on my reading section that once you purchase a reading with me, please send me an email, because I can't contact buyers over PayPal because they have a security thing set up. So if you purchase a reading and haven't heard from me, it's because I cannot get a hold of you. So you have to be the one to email me so we can get the reading going. And this is all part of one of the reasons why I'm having my whole site redone, so that it's easier for me to contact buyers and whatnot. So I will see you all in October and have a good month. All right. Bye, Scorpios.